Hello, guys. Happy Friday. Welcome, welcome. Please let me know if you're hearing perfectly. Drop a comment in the YouTube chat down below so I can see it. Normally, it takes there's a little bit of a delay. And welcome to another Friday Clone and Chill at this time, same time every week. And all right, let me start sharing. Welcome, everyone. For those who don't know me, just a quick recap. My name is Agustin Carrozo. I am Community Programs Manager at WeWeb. Hello, Bauer. How are you doing? Welcome. Grab a mug of coffee, tea, water, whatever suits you, so we can sit down and start talking about WeWeb. So, I'm Community Programs Manager at WeWeb. I'm Brazilian. I was a former web designer. I am a web designer. I was a former head of customer success for a Brazilian no-code school. So we're gonna be building something together. We're gonna be learning together, and we're gonna have fun, basically. So no toxic behavior. Feel free to open your mic, your camera, and share your screen. And the way you're gonna be able to do that, if you want to participate and hop on this call with me, so we try to figure out some stuff together, is I'm gonna be sharing the following link. I'm going to paste it in the comment. And if you click on that link, you'll be able to join me as if you're in a Zoom call, right? In a Teams call, Google Meet. Yeah, so let's get started. Now, every week I try something different, right? On week one, we built an app entirely using AI, and we did it live. On second week, we built an app entirely manually, right? So it was we were more in the field trying to build everything from scratch. It worked nice. On the third week, I developed something together with Joyce. We did a product hunt clone. And on this week, what I did, my idea was to help you guys or to create together a mood tracker, right? And it's gonna be like this. And the thing is, I actually built it. And today what I want to do instead is I want to show you how I did it and some things that I had to figure out, right? Like some issues that I was basically facing. And hello, Rick. Welcome to the call. And all right, so this is what we're gonna be building today. I'm gonna keep showing and we're gonna be building it with the plugin that's called Chart.js. It serves the purpose of us allowing us to do this kind of charts, right? Charts and graphs, basically super easily inside of WeWeb, or at least that's what I thought. We're gonna find an issue, a problem, which we're gonna go through together, which is the interesting part. And all right, so we have Rick here together in our call. Rick, just drop a comment in the private chat or in the YouTube chat if you like me to allow your camera, if you have something to say, if you'd like to participate. All right, perfect. And I had created a database inside of Supabase, right? It's going to be a simple two tables, mood types and mood entries. I wanted to keep it as simple as possible because I knew that the interesting part, the hard part, was going to be linking that data through to the chart, right? And there's two tables. First of all, the table is called mood types, where we're going to be storing basically it's a dynamic system where we can create all of the moods that we want, right? For this specific example, I wanted to create a mood that was like a 0, 1 to 5, right? So it's like great, good, okay, bad, and very bad, with a color and a text and an icon next to it. And the second table that we had in Supabase is the mood entries, which basically is two things that are important to us. First is the key, which is like, how am I feeling today? Which mood do I have? Which is good, bad, very bad, excellent, which is connected to this mood type table. So it's a foreign key. And the second one is the date, right? So when was this mood created? So I need to know if it was today, yesterday, or the day before. So this is what we have here. Mood entries, 3 columns. ID, which is created automatically. Mood type ID, which is basically connected to the other one, right? Here you can see this number 5 is going to be related to very bad, right? And then the 4 is going to be bad. And 3 is going to be okay, right? So they're connected, these tables inside of Supabase. So since we have that solved, and I explained to you what it is that we built here, and I want to go ahead and I'm going to be talk a little bit about charts, right? That's what we're using here in this this app we're building inside of WeWeb. So the way we did it is I started this entire project with a single prompt to our newly released AI. Let me see if I can find the prompt itself. It's going to be quite interesting to see what it worked with the first prompt. Yeah, so this is the prompt I did. I want to build a minimal mood tracker focused on mobile UI, right? So I want it to be mobile display. Use the charts.js plugin installed in my WeWeb project. Right, so what's that? So the first step I did when creating this project was coming here to plugins. And in here, charts, when I click on this, it's gonna have a button here that's called install. In that way, I am immediately able to create charts. Sorry, here there's a left column called charts. And this is where we're going to be able to drag and drop all of the chart functionality that WeWeb has natively with that plugin. So it's super easy and useful. And after I did that, I told my AI to start building this app with me. And then I said two functionalities. First, input today's mood and see your weekly and monthly mood on a chart. And then I told it to use fake data before we connected to a database. And then it went ahead and it created this in one shot. So the UI will have it solved. That was amazing. I was really happy with that. So my second challenge was, how do I connect my data that's inside my database, which in this case is Supabase, and bring it back and connect it to that chart, right? That's the difficult part. And our charts, they are, once again, based into chart.js, right? And they have extensive documentation about this, which we're gonna need in quite soon. I'm gonna show it to you. This is the link, chart.js. I'm gonna share it here with you guys just for your reference. And I'm gonna showcase it here, right? So this specific URL is telling us how to configure, if we were using like a regular app, right, like a JavaScript, HTML, CSS. It thinks we're installing it in our project, and we need to do 2 steps. First, configuration and setup. The configuration is already done because it's a plugin that we're already using with WeWeb, and thanks to it, this first part of configuration, we don't need to do it. It does it automatically as soon as we choose here the type of element, right? If I drag a bar, a chart, or a pie chart, it's gonna be the same. Dragging and dropping it there is gonna be the same that come in here, and with actual code writing here like type line, type chart, type pie. All right. But this part here is gonna be very important for our second step, which we're gonna go quite soon. All right. So now we know what's happening. It built this page. It created a fake chart. And then we needed to connect this chart to our Supabase. And charts inside of WeWeb, they have 2 variations, 2 use cases here. There are 2 modes, actually. They're called advanced or guided. Hello, David. David or David, how you doing? Welcome. Today I'm doing a walkthrough on how I built a mood tracker with charts and AI, basically, because it's quite interesting how I managed to solve it. And that's what I wanted to showcase to you today, guys. All right, so we're using the chart.js plugin, and we're using the advanced mode. In a second, I'm going to explain why we're using the advanced, but let me see if I can just create, let's add a new page and call it test, just so we we have the opportunity to experiment with the other one, with the regular one. What I'm gonna do is, first of all, I'm gonna add a section here, and inside of here, I'm gonna be dropping our, I don't know, let's since we're already, okay, let's do this one since it's the one we are working. As soon as I import it, it's going to import fake data, right? So it's better for us to visualize what we're trying to change and do. This is in the guided mode, right? So the other one we're building, it's in the advanced mode. Guided mode, it's a little bit easier, but it's not as flexible. It has a lot of things that are already set up for us. And it has basically, it allows two inputs, basically, which is the x-axis, right? And the y-axis. X-axis, in this case, is going to be linked to the month, right? Which is, once again, this is just fake data, right? It's just to explain to you guys what a chart.js does and how it works. So the x-axis is linked to our field of months, which is January, February, March, blah, 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 and so forth. And y-axis is linked to the data itself, like, so the value, in this case, it's numbers, right? Like a 60, 80, back to 10. That's the data we're linking. But other than that, we don't have that much customizability. And that's why the AI and I together decided to use the advanced mode. Now, in order to use the advanced mode, which will go here, we need to understand these three steps, these three things, which are called labels, data sets, and options. And here's why we're going back to the chart.js documentation, because as you can see, here we have them as well. Labels, data sets, and then we don't have options here, but here we have, all of these are options, which basically means customizability. I'm going to explain to you. That's why I created this little explanation. So a chart.js chart is composed of one, labels, which basically, as we saw in the regular, like in the guided one, it's basically what is that I am naming it that's going to be replicating in the columns. So bottom x-axis, that's the best way I found to explain it. So the bottom x-axis, that's the label. So what is it from time? What is the data that we're going to be keep repeating through the x-axis? Data set, let's get back to advanced. Data sets means all of the data which we want to represent inside of that chart, right? So I explained it as data array with graph values. So these are the values that we want to showcase to our users. And the thing is, it needs to come into an array, right? So that's why all of this project, basically, I can change the color. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is this. Okay, so it's very important that we understand that this comes as an array. The best way to see it is here. On this setup, the data set is going to open these brackets here. And all of this is an array, right? So an array, basically, for those who are not versed are not technical, it's a box where I have a lot of information, one after the other, comma, separated, right? So inside of this data set array, I have a label, I have data, I have a fill, border color, tension. So basically, I am feeding my chart all of the information that I wanted to showcase, where I wanted to showcase, the color I wanted to use. So a bunch of information inside of an array. And we need that. It's very specific, the information that it wants to feed to it. And the final one, it's called options. And options basically means the formatting, the design, the UI. If you want to customize it, as an example, here we can see that in the guided one, like the data, the title, it's on top, and suddenly in the advanced one, it's on the left, right? And it's using the advanced chart that we are able to create all of those different things. We have a lot of customizability. But then again, with great powers comes a great responsibility. And in order to use it, it's quite hard. Not as hard, but I'm going to show you to you how we can do it easily. But we need a step in order to think on how to build it. Let's get back to our example then. Let's go back to our home. Perfect. And here we are using an advanced one. And I'm going to be showing you here what I have inside of this. And I'm going to explain how I came to that conclusion. First, labels. Remember, this is the x-axis. So in this case, the information that I'm passing to my chart is the dates, right? So it's like 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. That's all fine and dandy. But I want you to think like I was thinking when I was creating this app. How can I tell my application first of all, on which week I am of the month? How does it know? And how do I tell it to count 7 days backwards? So here, as you can see, this is a smart chart. It updates daily, right? So tomorrow it's going to be 24th, right? And yesterday we didn't have this 23 column, right? So it's creating it live. So how does it do that? And the way I created it is by using a formula, right? It's called here weekly mood data. Now, obviously, this formula, who created it was WeWeb AI, which was super fast, super easy. But I want to break it down so you understand what's happening. Basically, before I dive into the code itself, I want to explain what it is that's happening. So the initial task was that I need to create a formula that's going to format our ISO date into something that our chart can use. So what is ISO date? ISO date is the information that comes here as soon as I create this here in our table, right? Manually or through my own app. It automatically is going to tag it with the time of the creation, right? So that means it's gonna create. It created this row number 7 on this 22nd of month 5 of 2025, and this is the time 1 p.m. 03 1600, right? So it's a bunch of information. This is a universal source. This is a universal date format that all of browsers use, right? And how can I transform this into this, right? How can I transform all of that gibberish into something that I can actually understand and feed it directly to my chart? Because as you remember, the charts are very picky with the information it wants from us. And all right, so this is what this formula does. What we're doing right now is, first of all, I am grabbing all of my collections here. So mood entries, I created a collection in here in WeWeb. Data, mood entries. Simple. I'm grabbing every single mood entry, right? So I have I knock on a Supabase door and I grab all of my information. Here we have it. Yeah, collection. Step 2. I am as soon as I load the page, I am grabbing all of my data from that collection and I am feeding it into a variable that I call mood data. Once again, let's show it. So here is the variable that I created that's called mood data. At this moment, you can see that it is already fed, so it has some information inside of it. How does it work? I created here at home a global workflow. So it's a trigger page workflow. So as soon as this page loads, so I'm going to click here, trigger page workflows, on page load, fetch mood data. I'm going to click on this workflow. And as you can see, as soon as the page loads, I'm going to fetch the collection mood entries, so automatically knocking on Supabase door. And I'm going to grab that information and I'm going to pass it to the variable mood data. So as a second step, I am changing variable value, right? Basically, I am feeding it the collection. So as soon as I load a page, grab collection, feed collection into this new variable that I created. That's called mood data. That's how I am on every single refresh. I am always updated with the latest collection. Okay, so why am I using this variable in the first place? Because it's easier to use that variable into our formula, which is this one here, formula. So step 1, collection. feed it to a variable. That variable is gonna have that information as a temporary measure, but we're able to use it inside of our formula. And this formula is where the magic happens. Basically, I had to create a formula that's gonna grab the information from the collection and make it usable to our chart, right? So that's the path that I had to go through. And that's why I'm breaking it down for you guys, because it's easier to understand, basically. And all right, now this formula is the complicated part. So far, is it making sense, guys? Like I grabbed the information from my collection, simple Supabase data. I input it into a variable. So I am holding this value temporarily, and I'm going to be using that variable to create a formula that's going to do some magic, and it's going to spit out information to our chart. So far, all good? All right. This formula, this is where the magic happens. Let's go back to it. All right. So I created two formulas, one for the weekly, right? So it's as soon as I click on this button, this formula is going to run. And on the other one is the monthly. I'm going to be honest, I did not figure out the monthly. It's too complicated right now. So let's just stick to the weekly and break it down on what's happening here. So let's open on the weekly. And here, there's a description, which is super useful for you guys whenever you create a new formula, that you write down what it's doing, right? This is every single programmer does this, and no-code programmers should do it as well. So here's the explanation. Get the last 7 days of mood data from the mood data variable. Remember that we created that variable? All right, so we're gonna grab the last 7 days, formatted it to the chart with proper date handling and null values, right? So it doesn't have null values. For days, sorry, it needs to have null values for days without entries. Now it's going to map the mood type ID to display values correctly, fix the date comparison logic to properly match entries. This was all AI generated. But I need to come down and break it down to you guys. Now, I know it can look like a lot of gibberish and code, but I'm gonna break down exactly what this is doing. And one of the first things that I want you to understand is that this entire formula is taking one data input, which is our mood data variable, right? Which is the temporary variable that we created, that it's going to be holding every single thing from our collection. So that's the input, that's the entry. The output of this formula is going to be two things, and you can see it right here, current value. This entire formula is spitting two things: one, labels, and two, data sets. If you open here, you can see that the first value it's spitting, it's labels with 1 to 6 with the last 7 days. Remember, we're trying to create a formula for that. And this data set, I'm going to wait a little bit to open it and explain it to you guys, because this is like where this is the array that I was talking earlier. But anyway, what I wanted to do, what I wanted to explain, one input, two outputs. Perfect. Now, how does this work? The AI is very helpful because it breaks down for us what it's exactly doing. And another interesting thing of creating formulas with the help of AI is you can, and thanks to WeWeb as well, is that you can hover over like certain variables, and it already shows you in a tooltip which variable we're talking about. So as an example, this is the comment, right? Like, get the current mood data from Supabase and via the variable. So it basically is recording the information from the variable mood data, again, the temporary variable we created, and it's going to input it into a constant that it created that's called mood data. Perfect. So now our formula has the value to play with. Now it's going to get the last 7 days, including today. Now, this is a part that's a little bit more in depth, right? But basically, all of this code, what it's doing is grabbing from today to 7 days ago. That's what it's doing. And then, it's formatting it properly. It's going to format it to display, because remember, every single date comes in this information, which is not usable for our chart. So we had to transform it. Hey, Roberto, yes, it's Friday already. Yeah, Bauer, you're saying it doesn't seem like no code or low code to me anymore. What do you mean? Like it's getting a little bit advanced with this JavaScript that I'm showing to you? Yes. Uh, but once again, I wanted to show you guys because I wanted to break down what's happening under the hood. But what I did, I just asked the AI to do this formula for me. And it is useful to understand what's happening and why it's happening. And at some point, it can break. So you need to kind of have a little bit of a knowledge there. But once again, all of this is just so we can use charts. Okay, grab information from this variable. I'm gonna grab the last 7 days for the past week, and I'm also going to format it so we can use it with our chart. Then it does more advanced and complicated things, handling the timestamp, the entry by comparing format dates. Like if it is Brazilian, like 2025 goes at the end. If it's American, it goes in the beginning. It needs to break down for us. Once again, it did it automatically for AI. And then it's going to return that value and format it again. Perfect. So one step back, Bauer. This works simply with one input, our variable, and two outputs, our labels and our data sets, which are now ready to be used. So how do we use them, right? That's why I broke down the advanced mode, because the advanced mode allows us to break that down. And in the labels, what I did is I simply grabbed the name of the formula we created that is called weekly mood data, right? Weekly mood data. And then if I only put that, which is the variable, which is the formula we created, it presents to us the two outputs. See, do you see that? See why it's super useful to have formulas? And okay, so but which one do I want to grab? I want to grab the labels. So I just put dot labels. Perfect. And now the same thing for data set, since that formula speeded two things, labels and data sets. Now, remember that I was doing some sort of mystery before I show you what the data set is and how this advanced mode for our chart.js is a little bit finicky because it only accepts an array with a very specific breakdown. That's why our value here in our formula is helping us to build this. It needs a label, border color, background color, border width, and all of this here, it's explained in the documentation, right? But who has time to read the documentation? So that's why I asked the AI and it broke it down for us. So we are grabbing the entirety of that array and we're going to be using it into our data set. And that is the interesting part. It already comes with all of the dates and the days since that formula grabbed it in the first step from a collection. Once again, here, create a collection, right? So far, so good, simple. Input, grab that collection, transform it or pass it down to a temporary variable that's called mood data. Use this variable into a formula that's going to transform all of this information into usable chart data and feed it to the chart. So it's a four-step process, which once you understand it in your brain, it is manageable and easy with the help of AI. But before I understood this entire path, it was very complicated for me. So that's why today I took the time to just explain and break it down, because I spent a lot of hours just trying to figure this out. But thanks to the AI, thanks to WeWeb, I am done. And this works perfectly. And I'm going to show you. Okay, let's go back here to our mood entries. And I'm going to delete today's one, right? So today's on the 23rd. Let's just delete it. And back to our mood tracker. Let me refresh the data. And there we go. The 23rd is gone, right? And so how am I updating that data and then again fetching it once again? The way I'm doing it is simple. So what we have here is a dropdown with all of our mood types, right? With the icon and the text. And as soon as I click on it, right, let's say that today is good, and I click on save today's mood, it brings a pop-up that your mood has been saved successfully, and it updates it here. See? And the way I do this is I created a workflow inside of the button, save mood entry, right? And there are several steps. An interesting thing is the entirety of this step was first created as a JavaScript. And yesterday, WeWeb launched the new feature that when I click on a JavaScript, it gives us the option. There's a tooltip here that gives us the option to break it down into no-code actions. So we're starting to have that already, which is super useful, even more for people like us, like me, that don't know a lot about code. All right, so check if it is selected. Step 1, I'm going to insert that mood entry, which is a simple number. Okay, let me select one first so it's easier to preview. There we go. I'm going to insert it into our Supabase, which is a simple number because it's the mood select from the page. And then it's going to fetch mood data as a second step. And then I'm going to update that variable that we created, right? This one here, mood data. And it's going to reset the mood selector so it doesn't keep selected, and it's going to show the success manager, success message. So far, so good. And that's basically how it works. Now, the hard part and the interesting part, because I like being challenged and trying to figure out things, was this here, as I told you guys, like how to work with a chart. Yes, Robert says that select there could have been avoided by using the return inserted rows. Yes, of course. Like this one here. Let me show you guys what he's talking about. Return inserted rows. Like this one? Yeah, I think it already is selected. This comes from when we didn't have this feature, so I always had to fetch, and that's like one step that I always do, fetch. But now it does it automatically, so it returns the inserted rows. And yeah, Roberto is already trying to optimize my app that I barely it barely made. I barely made it. Basically, it was hard. But now that I think about it, how I broke it down, it's quite silly. And now the hard part is obviously understanding and creating a formula that works. I couldn't do it for the monthly as an example because we had a hard time understanding how to break down past 7 days. Can you imagine like trying to work with the idea of breaking down into 30 days? And we have to use a calendar element for that. So that's being that's quite advanced. Maybe sometime in the future we'll be able to do that. Now, let me see if we can play around with some of the options so I can showcase to you why it's interesting to use the advanced mode. Options. All right. So here we have responsive, interaction, plugins, tooltips. Yeah, Roberto saying that it looks very good. It's probably the best looking app so far in this series. And you know why? Because it was made all with the AI. Like I had no hand in this. But it's I love experimenting because in the beginning of the series, right, like 4 weeks ago, we tried to create one app with entirely with AI, and it was so, right, as you remember, guys. But right now, it's impressive. It one-shotted this, and all I had to do is connect things and trying to understand how things work under the hood, which means that more and more people are going to be able to start using WeWeb without needing to be 100% an expert on web design, right? It's still extremely useful to understand how things works under the hood. Like I could create this in 1 hour, less probably. It's not that complicated. And as you can break down here, like all of the divs, all of the sections, right? All of the input section, that it has a mood input container. All right, so Gilson is asking, and when the data that is needed in graph comes from more than one collection. So that is a little, just a little bit more advanced, but the way it works, I don't remember how to do it in the advanced mode, but on the test mode, test mode, no, on the guided mode, which is like the simplified one, in order to use more than one data set, you have to, here in the y-axis, which basically accepts the entirely in the data set, if inside that array you have more than one collection, more than one array inside of it, you're able here to group by, if I'm not mistaken. If you click here in group by, it's going to use 2. Let's actually try to work that out. I don't remember if so we have good documentations on our side about the charts, so it's a good read. I had to spend quite some time here to understand how things work, and also the charts.js, how it works as well. Super important in order for us to play around with this, basically. Perfect. So guided mode. Let me see if it's here that it talked about 2. You can see here that we are able to grab information from more than one place. That is a feature. And advanced, yeah, even in advanced, I think for us to use more than one row, I think we could try. Let's try it. So yeah, so Roberto is saying, ideally you'd use a join a view or a function too, instead of fetching 3 collections. Yeah. You mean the view inside of Supabase? Okay, let's try to do it in the advanced mode. I think it just needs 2 arrays, if I'm not mistaken. All right, let's go back here. So right now it's just showing this, and in here in datasets, we should be able, if we have more than one array here, it should be as simple as displaying both of them. So the way I'm gonna do this, how can I do this? I need to create a fake array, mode data. So this is the variable. Okay, but this is coming from our logic. This is coming from here. This one, datasets. How can I create more than one? Manually, probably. Let's try it. Let's just copy this. Let's see if this structure works. And then in here, let's just delete this, use pure JavaScript. And yeah, obviously, okay, not working. I think I'm doing something wrong. Oh, it needs the return as well. It needed the entire object. Okay. Once again, let's have it here. Let's see if this works. No. Well, I mean, I think we're getting there. Anyway, I am being silly, but this is how it is supposed to work. Here we have an example, I think. This is a JavaScript array we are returning. I think it's super awesome that they provided this so we can experiment. Whoa! I mean, it worked. We still need to work on this, but you can see here that we have several. What is this? It looks like a fireworks show. But once again, Gilson, And all of this is just to try and answer Gilson's question. When the data is needed in the graph, it comes from more than one collection. That basically means that somehow you need to, you would need, like Roberto said, you would need to use a join view or a function tool, because you would need to feed this graph one one array. It needs to come as one array. It needs to come with one array with separated with each part, right, for each line that you want to create. So in theory, you can grab a lot of information, and Roberto is saying, you can join them here inside of Supabase and speed back a view. What is a view? All right, that's an interesting question. I tried experimenting with it here basically, but inside of Supabase, if you open the SQL editor and you of all of this with the help of AI, right, a chat GPT, and ask it to create a view. What is a view? A view here, as you can see, it's simply a custom table that we create with several things. Yeah, right, Gilson, exactly. It's easier to do this with a view within Supabase, preparing the data before using it in the graph. Yes, exactly. So you can, if you're an expert in SQL inside of Supabase, the best thing to do is to create a view that grabs the data from those three collections or those three tables, right? And it's going to spit out and it's going to merge them inside of one single table, right? And that single table, you can feed it back to the entire system, basically. If I'm not mistaken, you can also do what I did. I had to create like this entire formula, right? Just to modify the data so we can use it in our chart. You could do that here in Supabase with SQL as well, right? Like format it properly and things like that. And yeah, that would be very smart as well. So you don't have to keep using formulas in the front end and things like that. It comes back down to which one you think it's easier and more useful for your personal project. So Roberto is also saying that in theory, you could just link the collection dot data into the data property in your advanced property in the chart.js. Well, yeah, of course, you can connect directly. That's okay. So that's exactly what we're saying. So if we're going to go Gilson's and Roberto way, the end goal is to have a usable chart, right? But what if I don't want to do this, right? We can cut the middle guys down by doing the following, which is what they're saying. So we have a Supabase collection, or in this case, 3, right? And then we're going to be merging them down into a Supabase view. And this view is going to have, first of all, the merge of this. And then you can also, you can also edit it or formatting it inside of Supabase. So we're still in the backend, right? And in that way, you are able to fetch this view, which it works as a regular collection in terms of WeWeb, and you're gonna feed it to the chart, right? So do you see how it has less steps and is less complicated? But you do need to understand how to work with SQL, which is a specific it's not a language, it's a specific tooling that you can use inside of Supabase. And yeah, Roberto is saying that he usually formats most of his data in Supabase because he's trying to avoid heavy lifting on the front end side of things. Yeah, that is correct. So as everything in web design and web development, there are several ways of doing things. And I showed you the way of someone that's a beginner and trying to figure out how to make this chart work. And the way I did it is the first one, right? Which basically means using a formula. Because why? Because a formula, I had the help of WeWeb AI, and it had context with my other variables and things like that. And it also helped me to to debug it and understand the process, right? But if you're more advanced, this one here, this one here, is better. It's better for performance, and it's better for maintainability. And yeah, Roberto is saying like too many ways of doing things. Yeah, basically. But that's what's fun, experimenting. And that's also why I found it very fun and interesting that I could bring you guys this idea that I had about the chart, because it needed two steps. First of all, figure out how charts work from a beginner perspective. What is this? It looks so simple, but it's not. And then how to bring my idea to life, because the hard part about this project of mine is that I wanted to like go out of the mold and create like this daily mood tracker, right? And you only figure out that it's hard once you're in the middle of the development, basically. But yeah, it worked. We figured it out, and I was very happy with it. I mean, yeah, another interesting thing about the charts JS inside of WeWeb is that you sometimes need to refresh it. Let me see. I had to come here to the settings and then condition off and on. And okay, I broke it. It's all right. Of course, I have nothing here. I need to feed the data set from my formula. All right, so here I had it, formula from project, weekly mood data dot data sets. All right, and here we have it. And it's also an interesting mind process on how to do things. What I'm doing a lot is asking AI to build things for me, and then I try to break it down on my own. Because if I remember correctly, here datasets. This is just it's a silly example, but it came down in JavaScript, right? It was three return formulas. Like it was written in custom JS like this: return formulas, blah 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 blah. I think I have it written down. And I try to break it down into no code because that's what I am most used to, right? Yeah, exactly. Like Roberto says, like WeWeb Power is giving you the complete freedom over how you build a trap for yourself, or how you build like an amazing product that you had to figure out things down the way. But that happens a lot. And sometimes what is interesting and with the power of community is that you think one way, and then someone comes along and says, why didn't you use a simple variable? And then it's like, oh my God. And then your mind expands and you figure out how to do things way easier now. So I had this, right? Simple. But let's say you never seen JavaScript in your entire life. This is your first time seeing this. And right now, our AI, it's only outputting JavaScript, right? Which is something we're working on, so it can give back no code actions instead of only JavaScript. So we have more flexibility. So it speeded this, and I was like, what is this? And then you try to see, okay, it's returning a formula. It's the formula weekly mood data. And then here it has weird dot data set. I think this is what it's trying to do. You go back to formulas, and then you remember that I created this weekly mood data formula, right? So I come here to this tab from project, weekly mood data. Here it is, the two things that we just created, dot data sets. That was like the moment that I realized that I was like, okay, I can do everything basically. Even if the AI builds something for me, it works, and I try to break it down to see how it works. And let me show you, like I was saying that this week, WeWeb launched the capability of break down JavaScript into no-code actions. I did it earlier and it worked. For this one here in specific, like saving mood entry. Let's do something risky and basically delete this, right? I want to delete it just to showcase to you guys. Goodbye, my friend. It's never going to work again. And I'm going to go back to AI, start a new chat, submit button, and I'm going to tell it, I want I want to be able to submit a new mood for today. Let me see if with only that it's and connect it to Supabase. Yeah. And it's probably, hopefully, going to create a workflow for us. Mhm. There we go. Now we have a thought process. So it kind of breaks down what it's doing. Oh no. It's saying I will create a mood selection form with a drop down. Please don't create a new one. I already have this. It's fine. Yeah. I think I need to be more direct and ask it to create a workflow. Success content, error content, create a global workflow, create a formula. This workflow. Okay. This is what I wanted to showcase to you guys. It's updating a lot of things. I think it went rogue. How many submit buttons do I need? Okay, I think it. I'm going to revert back. No. Revert. Let's go back a couple. Oh, I can't. Okay, it got stuck on the exact moment I wanted to showcase a new feature. Let's just refresh it. Okay, I think it stopped. And yeah, I think we don't have our workflow because we deleted it. Let's just say this. When I click this button, I want to submit a new mood. Okay, let's try it once again. Once again, I'm trying to what I'm trying to showcase is this. Oh no, I don't have a JavaScript. This is already no code. Yeah, exactly. Gilson, it happens at the worst time. Did you guys see? I think there are compilations of people presenting like the new feature of the new things, like the new iPad, the new Mac, the new phone, whatever, and on stage with 100,000 people watching, like things don't work. It's always fun. Okay, let's see what it's doing now. Yeah, that's exactly. I only want a workflow. Thank you. All right. So when you are working with AI, the way it spits out information, it's in JavaScript, which is extremely flexible, and for advanced people is amazing. But for regular folks like us, can be complicated. Global workflow, create, update. Yeah. Here, as you can see, it spit out custom JavaScript node. It created a single node which with a bunch of information here, right? Like a bunch of steps. And this is useful, but not for me if I'm a beginner. So we have a new button here that's called convert to no code with WeWeb AI. Should we try? All right. I tried it today earlier, and it was super useful because it helped me to break it down and understand what was happening. All right. It's working. Do you see how useful it is now? It broke down every single step. All of this was happening inside of one JavaScript block, and it was useful, but it was not very debuggable and also incomprehensible for beginners. But now it breaks down like, okay, first step, it's actually doing the formatting. Okay, this has to be JavaScript. Perfect. Second, it's inserting the mood into our Supabase. We still need to do a couple of tweaks here, but now I know how to do them, right? Since I'm learning WeWeb, this is all I've known. Show a success message, refresh the mood data, and update the mood data variable. And yeah, I'm super happy with this. This one's not gonna work because I think we need to tie a couple of things together. But you guys like it? Did you see it? With one click of a button, it transformed that JavaScript into no-code actions, which was one issue that I was having, and it was one of the reasons that I wasn't using a lot of the AI, right? Because it speeded a lot of JavaScript. Things usually worked, but I didn't understand why, and I needed that abstraction layer of the no-code actions in order for me to be happy and understand how to modify it. So after this new release, I'm super happy that we have that. And yeah, Allison, nice. I'm glad you like it. All right, guys. So today was a shorter one, right? Because I'm not gonna sit down and try to do the monthly one with you guys because it's it's quite complicated. Mostly the logic, like how do we break down this data here into like a monthly usable for our chart. So it's quite complicated for me right now. Maybe we can have someone else hop in and do the entire monthly project. That'd be nice. But my knowledge as a beginner intermediate ends here, basically. So this was more than a clone and chill. It was like Agustin tries to figure out charts, and everyone helps. So, guys, would you like to see something else here? Do you want us to try something new? Or do you think we should end it here today? What's your take? Also, nah, never mind. I'm really happy with the design as well. How the AI speeded this. The first interactions of this were very bad. This even fooled Roberto into thinking that I was a master UI designer. So can you imagine? I'm really happy how things are going. The direction WeWeb is going as well. Like it's starting to be super useful. Okay, Roberto, show us something new from what WeWeb's working on. Nah, secret sauce. I am the secret sauce. I'm joking. But I don't have anything. The only new, normally I don't go behind the scenes and try to understand what our developers are doing because they do a lot of things and sometimes it works, it doesn't, sometimes it breaks. A lot of uh, like naming and nomenclature for coders and programmers, which I don't quite understand. So but one thing that's new, guys, and I hope you know him, is this new tab that's called pop-ups. I didn't have time yet to sit down and read and figure out how it works, but we have had a lot of positive feedback from people. I kid you not, on I was doing Brazilian office hours, right, like office hours in Portuguese, um, the other day, and the other day, no, it was Wednesday, and someone came along and asked me how to do a pop-up, if we needed to replicate it, and it was hard because he needed to copy and paste and create a new model, a new pop-up for every single page. And I said, yeah, sadly that's the way it is, there's no way around it. And one day after that, we released new pop-ups, which basically means you can reuse the same pop-up on your entire website. So that was fun. So Nicholas is saying something else. I would like to build a stopwatch with breaks. Okay, that's hard. Let's try pop-ups together now. Of course, we can try that. why don't we create, okay. So they are components. You can trigger pop-ups from any page. Okay, so what you're gonna see now is you're gonna be watching through my shoulder how someone's going to find themselves reading about these pop-ups for the first time, because as I have said, I haven't taken a look at them. So let's go through them. Quick help, add a pop-up component. You can trigger them, look for the open pop-up action. Okay, so we have an action that's going to be tied to this pop-up, kind of obvious. Currently, no pop-up opened. To open a pop-up, no. Let's go to the docs. So what we have is a new centralized management. So we have all pop-ups managed in one dedicated location. Instance-based control. So you can open multiple instances of the same pop-up type with different content. Yeah, that's exactly the question the Brazilian was asking me how to do, and now we can. Reusability. Create pop-up templates that can be reused throughout your application. Customizability. Configure various settings like animation, position, background. Okay. So we need to create pop-ups basically the same way we created models, right? And we start customizing it. So far, understandable. Modal, alert, sheet, and toast. Okay, customizing the appearance, normal. Now, yeah, this is the new part, like working with pop-up instances. So a key concept in the system, in the pop-up system, is the instances. A pop-up is like an email template. The pop-ups panel show all currently open instances. Perfect. So they're going to be appearing here, of course, in the opened instances. You can see which one is open, and you can close, opening and closing pop-ups. Select the element you want to act. Yeah, this is the trigger, and then you're going to create a workflow and create an action that's going to be like open pop-up. Perfect. Super simple so far. Yeah. Passing data when opening, right? So open the edit menu. So it's going to be through a variable, I imagine. Open the edit menu of the pop-up you want to make dynamic. Okay, so there's going to be like an edit button. Perfect. Create properties by clicking the new button, and then you can bind text, content. Okay. Okay, let's try it. Let's create a new pop-up. Let's call it a modal. And so what he was telling me was that in order to pass down information to this, let's try and see, like, okay, this I want to be a text. Bound text cannot be edited. So far it's bound to what? To nothing, to a test variable, I think. So what I want to do is okay, so far. Okay, one number which is going to be different for each. And then here, okay, so the model is a okay, it's green. It means it can be replicated as a component. Now here in the pop-ups, what happens if I close this? Can I even close it? Okay. Pop-ups, model, edit. This is the one we're working. Okay. Yeah, Roberto saying that we need to create a variable in the component. Is the menu next to the pencil tab. Yeah, let's try that. Pop-ups, model. What? A variable in the component. Is the menu next to the pencil tab? Oh, no, yeah, of course. Edit. Oh, we have a new a new tab. That's awesome. So these are the properties that we need to bind. Properties, data, actions, and formulas. Okay, so these pop-ups, will they be able to trigger workflows and formulas programmatically? That's interesting. Let's say this title, label, title, type text, default value. Okay, so how do I bind this? So far, like, okay, default title. And let's try and, okay, new description. It's type text, number, boolean. Okay. Okay. Then when you're opening the model via a workflow action, it will offer you bindings. Okay, perfect. So since I have title and description, now let's try and use that title and description. Let's see. So here, let's say this title, I want to bind it to the properties of this element, title. And then this bird, I want to bind it to the new one that we created that's called description. Okay. And let's close this. And what I want to do is let's add a new button, right? It's going to be here. And when I click on this button, I want to, does it say modal or pop-up? Open pop-up. Which one? It's going to be the modal. Oh, and it already gives me the parameters that I want to pass. That's amazing. So they can be obviously dynamic to the collection I'm clicking, right? So they can be repeatable. That's perfect. Yeah. You shouldn't be baking the data from the outside inside of the models. It's a bad practice. Usually you want to pass everything via these component properties. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. So what is also saying, Roberto saying, is if you have a collection, you need to bind it through the property as a proxy. So if you have a collection, you need to bind it through the property as a proxy. I didn't understand the proxy part, but I agree with you that we should be passing it dynamically. And like this. Okay, perfect. So title, we can call it amazing new title. I wonder if I need to have this or not. And then amazing description. Let's close this. Let's preview and let's see if it works. Amazing description, and the title is completely gone. Why? Okay, awesome. It doesn't allow me to edit it directly. Since it is an instance, I need to edit the element itself. Here, title and description. I wonder why this here didn't. Oh, because I broke it. Here it is. Now this is super cool. We can use pop-ups in a lot of new ways dynamically. Yeah, this is awesome. What Roberto's saying, yeah, that's what I meant. You should use the property to serve it inside of the component, proxy it instead of inside the component, binding the green variable collection. Yeah. So basically what he's saying is like we should never change this directly. We should do this through this new pop-up system that allows you to grab the dynamic value as soon as you invoke the pop-up, which means you can have a blank pop-up and reuse it everywhere, basically. And that's super awesome. And it's going to save a lot of time. And it opens up a lot of possibilities as well. Yeah, Gilson, nice. And it was easy. Like I thought it could be a little bit complicated. Obviously, I had the help of Roberto figuring it out, but it kind of makes sense once you do it once, you already understand how it works. And then that also means like, yeah, you can tie this the image or whatever you build inside of this this pop-up is going to be quite modular, and I imagine it's going to be super nice. Let's say you have a collection, a shopping list, right? A bunch of items, and as soon as you click on one, uh, when you click on it, you're going to be passing down the ID of the collection, and it's going to populate the pop-up. Cool. Let's see what Roberto's saying. The only thing I wish WeWeb added with this is closing only one instance instead of all of the pop-ups at once. Why? Because you want to have more than one pop-up open? Like you want to have that possibility? Is that what you're saying? Or perhaps the way closing works now. Yeah. Gilson saying, yeah, like the previous alerts were not good. Yeah, I think we were aware of that. That's why we're always working on trying to improve that usability, right? So yeah, Roberto says that right now one can only close all of the pop-ups from the outside via an external workflow, not on one, only one. Okay, so there's an action that's called close all, but not close specific pop-up with ID whatever. Yeah, I understand. But what would be the usability of that? I if you try to explain it, I can pass down that feedback to the team, right? What is the situation that you will be using several pop-ups that are open, and then you just want to close a specific one? Maybe we didn't implement it because we didn't think of a use case. But yeah, I'm happy. The team has been cooking. New pop-ups. The thing I showed you will transform the JS, the AI JS into no-code actions. That for me is super useful, even more for learning. And we keep improving, guys, little by little. Yeah, Roberto saying, even though it's not a great practice, some designers open pop-ups within pop-ups for some complex workflows and apps. Yeah, I have seen them. I agree it's not the best, but I have seen they being used. So yeah, so it's not right, but some people do it. So yeah, obviously, if you are if you're building a WeWeb app for a customer, and she or he wants like 7 nested pop-ups, you kind of have to obey your your client, and you got to figure out how to build that. So Gilson is saying that I think you can close it through the workflow. That's the thing. How? Like, what Roberto is saying is that you can only close all of them, right, with one button. How could we do it, Gilson, do you think? Okay, I'm not even sure with this system, are we even allowed to create a pop-up inside of a pop-up? Can we call? I don't think so. Let's try. How would I even add a pop-up inside of here? So Roberto's saying the feature I love about these new pop-ups is that there is an option to wait till the user closes the pop-up, acts on a choice, before proceeding with the workflow. Nice. Okay, let's try and see if I can put a pop-up inside of here. Okay, so that's the thing. I don't need to put the pop-up inside of here. I only need to create a workflow that calls a second pop-up. So that's the thing. I don't think they're connected. I say close just one instance. What do you mean? That's an option? That's a toggle? Let's say, do you think this X has a workflow? How does this X work? Here, close pop-up. Well, I mean, yeah, there is this close this pop-up instance, but it has to be called from within, right? Yeah, I think that's what Roberto is also saying. Like, what he wanted to exist is a general workflow that is workflow action that's accessible anywhere in the app that's going to be able to close pop-up with ID 7. I think that's what it's trying to say. Close this pop-up instance. Because what happens if here, right? Like I have this one. And here, yeah, this is what it's saying. Close all pop-ups. The only way to close that pop-up specifically is if you close it when you are with it open inside of it. When you're outside of it, you cannot close a specific pop-up by call, like here, close all pop-ups. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, there's no way to do it. Or there is. Do you think this is a second? This is a. Does this drop down going to close only this one? I think it will, Roberto and Gilson. Okay, let's try it. How are we even going to maintain all of the pop-ups open? Okay, so we have 2 of them. And but that's the thing, I can't close it. In preview mode, whenever I click outside, it's going to close it. How can I showcase and see if this workflow works? Yeah, it is. I think it works. I think it is. You can close each one of them. So it should be closed pop-up. That's actually maybe means close all of the instances. In that case, the name is kind of misleading because I would assume it's gonna close every single pop-up, and then in here I can't even choose all of them. But yeah, I think you're right. It just means close in all instances of the pop-up name model, which could be a lot. Okay, okay, we figured it out. It was exactly that, a problem in naming, basically. Since it was super new, right? Like this feature was launched yesterday, so we are still figuring things out. I'll pass the feedback to the team. My cup holder fell. That's why I am here fixing my table. That's great. Nice. All right. So I think I had someone asking us to do a specific app, which I don't think I'll be able to do now. I need some study and prepare before I try to attempt something live, basically. He said, I would like to build a stopwatch with breaks. So you mean like like one of those apps in the phone where you say start, and then the number goes and then you stop and it creates a stop and then it keeps going, right? I think that's what Nicholas is saying. I think, it doesn't look that hard, but it's probably going to need a lot of tweaks with the formula and the variable. Like, how would you keep a number going up, basically? Obviously, it's super easy with JavaScript, but beats me right now. I need to sit down on how to figure it out. Unless you want to watch me fail live. Okay. And yeah, Roberto, that your last question, I'm not sure yet. Still figuring out things. So guys, I think that's gonna be it. We saw a little bit of a pop-up. We saw how to work with charts, and we saw how to use formulas, JavaScript formulas. I showcased you how we have this new button that transforms JavaScript into no-code actions. and I'm quite happy. We went through a couple of things, spent some time together. I hope you guys enjoyed this time as I enjoyed it spending with you guys. Help you. Thank you for helping me, teaching me, and I hope that I could have been helpful to you guys as well. And once again, every Friday we meet at the same time. We try to build nice things, spend some time inside of WeWeb or just chatting. I also lead Portuguese office hours every Wednesday at noon Brazilian time. And and yeah, thank you, Roberto. It was great today. Definitely looks like you're getting the grasp of it. Yeah, it's like every single week I'm adding like a part to the puzzle. And that's the amazing part about teaching and hosting is that it's just the fastest way to learn, basically. I am forced to go deep down into WeWeb, and but let's hope we I can pass down this knowledge and this information and this excitement to you guys, right? Because none of this is like fake. I just really enjoy using the software. I really enjoy meeting you guys, building with you guys, and experimenting. And at the end of the day, what I don't want you guys to lose, never, is this creativity, right? Like this inspiration. Let's keep exploring. And I mean, obviously, we all have like jobs, but we also need to have some time to explore new things and try new things, and have like this childlike mentality. And I'm all that, all in for that. All right. Thank you guys. You are awesome. You can check the replay in the YouTube channel. Spread the word about this event so we can have more people joining us and participating. So we have a better event. And thanks again for taking some time of your day, guys. And I hope to see you in the next one.